So, Mr. Aubi-One, can you tell us where you're from, how old are you, and since when you're DJing?
So I'm French, but I'm a French kid from Hong Kong, actually. French originally, but I grew up in Hong Kong for 17 years.
No way! Oh,
I went to the French high school here in Hong Kong for 16 years. So Hong Kong has a special place in my heart. I left for a very long time, for 10 years, and I only came back 2 years ago. So I call myself a French kid from Hong Kong.
Wow! Okay, surprised. Didn't expect that. So you speak Cantonese?
I speak Mandarin. I'm currently learning Cantonese since recently, I must say, but I've been learning Mandarin for a long time. I lived in China for a little bit as well as part of university. So Asia and Hong Kong has always been very close to me. And I'm actually turning 30 next month. So it feels quite special to be turning 30 in the city where actually I grew up. And yeah, on your question about DJing, actually my DJ journey has been quite recent. It's been only a year and a half ago, I'd say. And I picked up DJing to impress a girl, actually. And I fell in love with a DJ.
So that's a good reason. That's a beautiful reason. There is no problem with that. It's nice. Oh, okay. But you were attracted by the DJing music.
I've always listened to a lot of music ever since high school. I remember being at university and Spotify emerged and using Spotify and just starting to listen to a lot of music. And so when I met someone who knew how to DJ and who explained to me a bit what it is, I got a bit fascinated with the idea. And I think DJing, the number one thing about DJing is you need to love music and you need to know a lot of different music. So that made it easier for me to pick things up and to start it myself, essentially.
Nice. What music did you listen when you were a teenager, when you were in high school?
Actually, when I was in high school, I was listening to classic Nickelback, Blink-182, this kind of music that actually I don't really listen to anymore now. But I'd say kind of indie rock and those kind of things.
Linkin Park.
Exactly,
kind of,
exactly.
Yeah. Which year you were born?
I was born in 94.
94?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my first ever music festival was in Belgium, a festival called Pukkelpop, which was very focused on rock. And I had a Belgian friend who, we were just 18, right after high school. We just graduated. You're, entering the second phase of your life. And we went to Pukkelpop Festival in Belgium. And that was a great experience for me. The festivals I do now are very different than Pukkelpop. Yes. But that was my first festival experience, listening to the Hives, listening to the Black Keys. And it was a nice introduction to music.
Nice. Do you remember the first time you've been in a club?
Yes.
And where was it? How was the experience?
I think it was when I was 17 in Oma. It was here in Hong Kong. Oh, actually, maybe not Oma, but it must have been a club in Hong Kong. I guess Oma didn't exist when I was 17, but it was in Nan Kwai Fong. And I remember there was a club in Nan Kwai Fong where we could hit the seating with our hands. And anyway, it's just when we were 16, 17. But my first clubbing experiences were in London. I went to London at university and I discovered a few clubs like The Nest and The Egg. And that was my first experience with going to nightclubs in London.
You want to take him?
Sure.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Just holding because he's a bit crazy.
It's okay.
So how did you learn DJing? Was it your partner, your friend?
Actually, I learned myself a lot. I downloaded a software called Mix, something I found online.
Okay.
I did a few mixes just on my computer, downloading music, creating libraries. I think what I enjoyed about that process was that it enabled me to learn about just how you could transform a song with high cues, mid cues, and low cues, how to download music, the structure of a song. It just made me look at music very differently. It took time. I think I really started to feel comfortable with mixing maybe after 8 months. I had the opportunity to play with my partner and the opportunity to take a few lessons with other people and more veteran DJs and stepping out of my comfort zone by playing B2B with some people who are more experienced than me and feeling confident enough to play with these people without the fear of being judged because they were my friends. And once you get out of that, I picked up small bits and pieces of how different people mix. And in the end, you pick and choose what you like and you make your own way. And I feel that now I have maybe my own way of playing and my own way of mixing, and I feel quite comfortable with it now.
Your first gig, your first performance were home party, friends, play, something like that. But do you remember your first ever DJ set where you had, commitment, like an official gig?
Yeah.
Or maybe got paid.
It was my first ever gig, and I have to credit my partner for giving me that opportunity. Was in a small place called Kioski, which is a small kiosk in Tsimtsatsoy. It's an amazing community. It's actually managed. I mean, the owner is this 65-year-old guy, local Hong Kong guy who loves to party, really young, loves to have fun with young people. Very nice, very welcoming. And my partner has organized many events with that brand, Kioski, before. And she gave me the opportunity to play for the first time in front of a crowd where you have a commitment of a set time. You have to choose your own tracks, playing on an equipment that you're not very familiar with. So I was nervous, but I think it was a good casual environment for me to try playing in front of other people for the first time. And it was in a little siumai kiosk in Tsimtsatsoy. It was very fun, and I have very good memories of it. I think it was during the Lunar Festival about a year and a half ago.
What's your process to prepare a set? Would you go on YouTube, Spotify, get inspired, and then you go on Beatport, or how you prepare a DJ set?
So I prepare a DJ set first, depending on the time I'm playing. I will stick to different genres depending on the time of the set. If I'm playing an earlier set at an earlier time, I quite enjoy to play down-tempo or organic house. And often the way I would approach a set is I maybe start with, I have 2 or 3 tracks that I really like, and I go from there. And then I see what matches these 2 or 3 initial tracks that I know I want to begin with. And then I go on my record box, I see what's in the same key, what's in the same BPM. But usually it starts from 1 or 2 tracks that I identify, and I'm like, okay, I would love to open with this track, or to have this track as one of the highlights. And I try to build it off. I try to build what comes before and what comes after based on those 1 or 2 tracks that I really like. And the style of music will really depend on the time I'm playing. Yeah.
I see. How long was your longest DJ set? Do you have a record?
Actually, my longest was an hour and a half.
You never played longer than?
I never played longer than an hour and a half.
Okay.
And when I see friends and even my partner who've done 2.5 hour sets, I really applaud that, because for me, it's you need to be really focused, and it's easy to.
Yeah.
I would think there's maybe a risk of losing that energy and focus, and so I'd love to have an experience of really diving into a longer set. I've done 2-hour B2Bs with someone, but myself has only been an hour and a half.
Do you enjoy B2B, or you think it's a bit difficult sometimes?
I was very scared at the beginning, and I didn't like it because, when you're crafting your own sets, you have control 100% from the beginning to the end. You hold yourself accountable for your own mistakes. You have ownership of it. When you're doing B2B, especially when you're less experienced, you don't know what the other person's going to play. You don't know, and you don't want to ruin the tracks that they are playing. So it made me very nervous. But I also think that it's a really important way to improve, and it's a good way to think fast and to think on the spot, which is something that I don't do as much now. I take time to craft my sets and to pick my tracks. And sometimes I will include things that I didn't pre-select on the moment. But many times I would pre-arrange the music, and playing B2B forces me to step out of that comfort zone and out of the control, and to adapt and to learn how to go through your playlists on the spot and to remember, oh, this track may go well with the thing I played a couple months ago.
You need a good library
management, yes,
and good
100%.
memory.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you have thousands of tracks, it's difficult.
Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to play with you one day, because I like your track list, and I think we can be compatible.
I have a few friends, one in particular, the He-Man, and shout out to the He-Man, who's a very experienced DJ as well, great music taste. I think you guys would get along. He's very experienced, and when I B2B with people, I'm sometimes nervous, but when I B2B with him, he makes me feel very relaxed, and because I know that he will help me save whatever I'm doing, and he will help me.
It's not a competition.
He will adapt to what I'm playing.
Yes,
and
that's very important in the back-to-back. Is really to have this agreement.
And when we had practice B2B sessions with him, there were some amazing moments where suddenly things just flowed really naturally because we were so relaxed and having a good time. And I do remember some moments where our tracks matched really, really well. We had beautiful transitions, and I wish we had recorded it. But it was very organic, is what I meant.
That's nice. So you started DJing, and then you started to do your own party. You mentioned before that you were doing your own party. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so I think a part of me have always wanted to organize events. I saw my partner, who has been organizing events really actively for the past 2 years, has been doing it really, really well, and has grown her brand significantly. And I was inspired by her to wanting to do something similar, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. Having grown in Hong Kong for 16 years, and I work in sustainability. So I was thinking, I work in sustainability as a full-time job in sustainable finance. So working on environmental finance and social finance. And so, for the last few years, I've always done things around sustainability, and I like to link the things I do to that topic and to kind of giving back. And I was thinking, okay, maybe we can organize a sort of collective, an organization that organizes music events, but not necessarily just music. It can be arts and F&B and cocktails and food, but making these charity fundraisers. And actually, before I had my first ever event, so I founded this organization called Juju with a partner of mine called Chris Anderson. And before our first event, I was going out to the gym, and I saw one of these recycling aunties trying to go up the hill of Soho. It was peak summertime. She was struggling. She had to stop, catch her breath. And then I helped her. I stopped. I helped her to carry her carriage all the way up to that street near Cane Road. And I had time, and I ended up spending almost 2 hours with her. Fortunately, she spoke a little bit of English. I was in no rush. I had time. Because I helped her to bring her carriage up and to load the cardboard, she had to bring it down. I had time, so I helped her to bring it down. And I went with her to these intermediaries where they sell the cardboard, the people buying the cardboard from her. And I witnessed firsthand that, one, the tiny amount of money that they get for these cardboard that they collect, and two, that they're sometimes cheated by these intermediaries. We ended up, we ended up going to have a meal, and I spent quite a bit of time with her. So for our first charity event, we supported an organization that's called V-Cycle. And they have a charity arm which supports these cleaning aunties by going to visit them, by going to check up on their health, by giving them additional income, because many of these elderlies live by themselves and they live on less than $100 a day. So it started off from there. And that's where we had the idea of, okay, we can organize many events and support different Hong Kong charities with each of our events. We've had 4 events so far. We've raised almost 20K across our different events. We donate 100% of our profits to a different charity that does social impact work in Hong Kong. And it's great. It's been a great way to get support from people, and people are really interested to help.
That's nice. So I guess you have a lot of DJ who are keen to DJ for your event.
Yeah, I mean, but we because we do ticketed events, I want to offer a fee to the DJs because they spend time to play at our events. But in most cases, all the DJs, send me a message and they say, "Hey, please donate my DJ fee to a charity pot." And that's been the case in most cases. But I think it's fair and it's good to offer a fee to the people who come to play. But in most cases, they've offered to donate their fee. We've had people help by giving charitable rates for photography. We've had people help by donating some lights. And it's just, you see the community emerge and people wanting to help and be a part of it. And that's been great. And I really appreciated that.
That's wonderful. That's nice.
There's so much to do in Hong Kong. And it's easy, especially as a foreigner, to live in Hong Kong and to be completely blind. Well, not blind, but I mean, just not to be exposed to these kind of levels of poverty and challenges. So it's been great so far. The brand is called Juju, and I think it's really skatable. And also I spoke about the DJs and the people, but the venues have been great as well. We had many venues who offered to maybe privatize their venue for free and to just find very charitable arrangements that can help us donate 100% of our profits, but also cover our expenses.
That's great. Wow, wonderful. What is the most difficult aspect in DJing or organizing this event? Like, what do you think is the most difficult for you?
I think you just have to manage a lot of things at the same time. It's not, when you look at them individually, it's not huge, but it adds up. Especially in events where there's no decks and there's no speakers and there's no lights and you have to bring all this equipment because some venues are simply not equipped for those kind of events.
Yes.
We had our last event actually was on top of the Pier 3, on top of the Discovery Bay Pier. This was an iconic event because it's on top of the pier. I don't think it had really been done before. And the venue was kind enough to collaborate with us. We had view on the Hong Kong skyline, and on IFC, but we had to bring a lot of equipment there. You have to bring all the equipment back, handling tickets. So it takes time, and especially for a charity event, we want to raise enough money to be able to make a sizable contribution. So I think the biggest stress is the fear of not having enough people show up.
Marketing
and the social media is really hard, and that's something actually I have to give credits to my partner who's taught me a lot on that. Social media is important, and it's also a great tool, and if you can use it well, it's good.
And I guess you have also competitor, not into charity, but other brand that do parties.
Yeah, of course. There's so many events. I mean, it's a great thing. Yes, it's competition, but it's really amazing to see so many different initiatives and collectives across Hong Kong. One thing that we try to do is we want to make our events a bit more inclusive to different crowds, and also crowds who are maybe not so keen on partying so late. There's a lot of parties in Hong Kong and events, maybe in the underground scene, that start at 11 p.m., finish at 6 a.m. Yeah. We usually have events that start at 6 and finish at 11 or midnight.
Sunset time, yeah.
Sunset time, outdoor events, and it caters to people who are maybe want to dance and listen to some music, but don't necessarily want to go out until very late.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good formula.
And it enables DJs even to do 2 gigs in a night. They can come open for us early enough, and because we want to mix maybe good food and drinks. It's a social. Most of the venues in which we've done our events, like the Pier 3 event, was a Thai restaurant. So people were having Thai foods. We did it at Sam Fancy, where they had really good American Asian fusion food. So we want an environment where people can also socialize and have fun. So there is a dance floor, but there's a lot of people just chatting and taking photos and just enjoying themselves. So we want to make a warm environment, and we've had good feedback on that so far.
Okay. Let's finish with the music. What is your style? What do you define your style for the moment?
I listened, I would say, to a lot of deep house, organic house, down tempo as well, and indie dance, which for me, I see indie dance as a mix of house music and also acids, and so I like things that are groovy but also a bit trippy and psychedelic, and I don't play too fast, maybe at most 130, 28 BPM, but I like the 120 BPM range, and also the hundreds, and I often say that slow music can also be quite intense and quite an experience. And,
Yes, it does.
and one of my inspirations, I think, of that kind of music has been Wonder Fruit Festival in Thailand. I've been a couple of times, and it's really a festival that I've enjoyed. I enjoyed the atmosphere and the branding. And there's a stage there called Polygon, which plays a lot of this slow, stomping music, but something that makes me feel very alive, even though it's very slow BPM.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you. What is your next gig, your next event coming up? What's it?
Yeah, so we are having another charity fundraiser with Juju on the 14th of September at Dead Poets, which is a cocktail bar / barbershop. And we'll be supporting another Hong Kong-based charity, and we'll have a few DJs coming to play. We're going to have some B2Bs. So hopefully, if anybody wants to join, you can drop us a message, and it'd be great to see.
Yeah, we're going to post this on the social media. All right.
So and also a big thank you to you, Shandy, for helping a lot of people in the industry market themselves. And so appreciate the time that you spent.
You're welcome. I enjoy to see new talent and passionate people like you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shandy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.